Rugby fans, let's talk about something big. Something that's going to fundamentally change the game as we know it, especially for our rising stars. World Rugby has just dropped a bombshell announcement. Starting in 2026, the Under-20 Championship will globally adopt a lower tackle height. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's a massive shift in how the game is played and coached at the elite youth level. So, what does this actually mean for the future of rugby, for player safety, and for the spectacle of the sport we all love? Let's break it all down. First, the specifics. The new rule mandates that the tackler's head must be below the ball carrier's sternum, effectively lowering the legal tackle zone. This isn't a completely new idea. We've seen trials of this in various community and age grade competitions around the world for a few years now. France, for example, has been a pioneer in this area, implementing similar rules in their community game, with some fascinating results. The data coming out of these trials is what's really driving this global change. World Rugby isn't just throwing darts at a board here. This is a decision backed by science and a growing body of evidence. The primary motivation, of course, is player safety. Concussions and head injuries are the #1 concern in contact sports today, and rugby is no exception. The traditional upright tackle, where players often make contact chest to chest, carries a high risk of head-on-head or head-on-shoulder collisions. By forcing tacklers to aim lower, the goal is to significantly reduce the frequency of these dangerous impacts. Think about the physics of it. When two players are running at each other at full speed, their heads are often at a similar height. Lowering the target zone for the tackler naturally creates more separation between the heads of the two players involved. The data from the French trials showed a substantial reduction in head-on-head contact, and that's a statistic you simply can't ignore. This is about protecting the long-term health of our young athletes, ensuring they can have long, successful careers and, more importantly, a healthy life after rugby. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Is this going to soften the game? Are we taking the physicality out of rugby? It's a valid concern. Rugby's brutal, beautiful physicality is part of its DNA, but this change isn't about removing physicality, it's about redefining it. It's about promoting a more skillful, technical, and ultimately safer form of tackling. The classic textbook cheek-to-cheek or shoulder tackle has always been taught as the gold standard. This new rule simply reinforces that fundamental skill. It discourages lazy, upright, soak tackles and forces players to get their body height right, use their footwork to get into a strong position, and wrap with their arms. In a way, it's a return to the fundamentals of safe and effective tackling. The best tacklers in the world, guys like Richie McCaw or David Pocock, were masters of getting low and targeting the ball. This rule encourages every player to develop those same habits. So, how will this impact the actual flow of the game? This is where it gets really interesting. One of the unintended but very welcome consequences observed in the trial phases was a more open and exciting style of rugby. When tacklers are forced to go lower, it becomes much harder to hold up the ball carrier and create a maul or slow the ball down. Instead, the ball carrier is more likely to be brought to ground quickly. This leads to faster rucks, quicker ball presentation, and more opportunities for attacking teams to play with speed and width. Furthermore, with the tackler committed lower, the ball carrier often has more freedom to get an offload away. Imagine more Sonny Bill Williams-style offloads becoming a regular feature of the U20 game. This could lead to more continuity, more line breaks, and ultimately more tries. So far from making the game less exciting, this rule change could actually make it a more dynamic and entertaining spectacle. It's a potential win-win, safer for the players, and more thrilling for the fans. Of course, a change this significant doesn't come without its challenges. The biggest one will be coaching and implementation. From grassroots all the way up to the U20 international setup, coaches will need to adapt their training methods. Drills will need to be redesigned to ingrain this new tackle technique until it becomes second nature. Referees will also have a crucial role to play. There's going to be a learning curve for everyone involved. What constitutes a legal tackle? How do you officiate situations where a ball carrier suddenly dips or changes height just before contact? Consistency in refereeing will be absolutely key to making this transition smooth and fair. We'll likely see a spike in penalties in the early stages as players and officials adjust, which could be frustrating for teams and spectators alike. But that's a short-term pain for what World Rugby believes will be a long-term gain for the sport. Let's think about the players themselves. The U20 Championship is the final stepping stone to senior international rugby. The players in this tournament are the future All Blacks, Springboks, and Wallabies. By instilling these safer tackling habits at this crucial developmental stage, the hope is that they will carry these techniques with them throughout their professional careers. This isn't just about changing the U20 game. It's about changing the future of the senior game. We could be looking at a generation of players who enter the professional ranks with a fundamentally safer approach to contact. Over time, this could lead to a gradual but significant cultural shift across the entire sport, reducing concussion rates at the highest level and extending players' careers. It's a long-term vision, and the U20 Championship is the perfect incubator for it. Another point to consider is the impact on different player types. Will this favor smaller, more agile players over larger, more powerful ones? Not necessarily. A big, powerful tackler who learns to get low and use their leg drive will be just as devastating, if not more so, than before. However, it does level the playing field slightly. It emphasizes technique over sheer brute force. A smaller player with excellent footwork and perfect technique can be just as effective at bringing down a much larger opponent. This could lead to a more diverse range of body shapes and sizes thriving in the game, which can only be a good thing for its global appeal. So, what's the timeline? The change is set for the 2026 U20 Championship. That gives national unions, coaches, and players about 2 years to prepare. Expect to see a major push in education, with workshops, online resources, and new coaching modules being rolled out by World Rugby and its member unions. The players who will be competing in that 2026 tournament are likely around 17 or 18 years old right now. Their coaches, at the club and school level, need to start implementing these changes now. The transition needs to begin at the grassroots level to ensure that by the time these players reach the U20 stage, the lower tackle height is simply the way they play rugby. It can't be a switch that they're asked to flip just before a major tournament. In conclusion, this is a landmark decision for rugby union. It's a bold, proactive step to address the most significant challenge facing the sport: player welfare. While there will undoubtedly be bumps in the road, the potential benefits are immense. We're talking about a safer game for our future stars, which could also lead to a faster, more exciting, and more skillful brand of rugby for us all to enjoy. It's a change that respects the game's physical heritage while bravely embracing its future. The 2026 U20 Championship won't just be a showcase of the world's best young talent. It will be our first glimpse into the future of rugby itself. I, for one, am incredibly excited to see how it unfolds. What do you think about this new rule? Is it the right move for the sport? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of rugby. See you in the next one.